Right, so hello everybody. My name's Damien Hickman. I'm the CEO of the IDRC, and the IDRC are hosting this year's Vis Moot. So first of all, yeah, welcome everybody. So a couple of things I've already mentioned is when you arrive is to put your team name and then your name, so the arbitrators know who you are and which team you're with. And I also mentioned that the email that you have submitted to the Vis Moot team, that should be the email that you use on your Zoom account, because the way that this is going to work seamlessly is that Zoom will recognize who you are as a registered participant, and that will allow us to automatically assign you to your hearing rooms for each round. And obviously the bulk of people on the calls are going to be the students and their team members. So as I said, if you are a speaking participant, you should have your camera on, and then obviously you should unmute yourself when you are speaking. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to run over a couple of features of the Zoom platform that we're on now, which, as I said, will be the same one that we're using for the Moot itself. Just to sort of familiarise it, I'm sure a lot of you know Zoom or similar sort of platforms. But down at the bottom of the dashboard, you will see sort of mute, unmute. That's pretty easy to do. And again, start and stop video. A useful one for you potentially is the participants. So if you press participants, the participant list will pop out, so you can actually see who's on the who's on the call, who's in the room with you at a particular time. The chat function, you will need to use the chat function when you arrive in your hearing room to basically say to the arbitrators that who are the speaking participants of that, because they will then copy that and then they will use it on your score sheets. The share screen you don't need to use at all, and then I'll come on to another couple of things in a minute. Going to the top right hand corner of the screen, you should see a view button. On the view button, you've got two options really. You've got speaker view and gallery view. Speaker view is obviously would have the speaker, so obviously myself will be in large format, and then the other people will be in a smaller format. Or you can go gallery view as well, and then you will see everybody the same size. Now, if a lot of you are seeing a screen with lots and lots of boxes on, lots and lots of black boxes on, and then really small videos, what we want to do is get rid of all the non-video participants. So if you right click on any of those black boxes, and then you will see hide non-video participants. If you press that, it just clears the screen up. So all you're left with are just the videos. So for you, it should make it a lot easier. So that is also a setting in Zoom as well. So you can actually set that as a standard, so you won't see those boxes. For the actual Moot itself, there should only be a maximum of 7 videos on at any one time, which is obviously the 3 arbitrators and 2 speakers from either side. If you are an observer or another team member who are not speaking, you should have your cameras off and muted at all times. Hope that makes sense. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to open what we call the breakout rooms, which are actually going to be the hearing rooms. When you will see a prompt to join. I don't want anybody to join. You can, I think it's either says it's join or later. So just check the later box. So I'll open those now. So don't join yet, just say later. And a few of you haven't been assigned. Let me open this now. So they're open now. So as I said, don't join those. Excellent. You're the first lot, including arbitrators, for none of you to have done it. So well done. So now is is now press the breakout rooms at the bottom and join the hearing. This will be labeled your hearing. So we've just got 3 set up today, which are New York versus Hong Kong, Cambridge versus Poland, and ABC versus DEF. So if you now press at the bottom of the screen, breakout rooms, and then go there, stay there, and then I'll close them, and then everyone can come back into the room where we are now. So if everyone goes there, I want to see everybody leave and go into those rooms. Steph, I'll just assign you as well. So if you join, you can join that. Just a few of you left. If you can go to the bottom of the page, you'll see breakout rooms and then join. Good. Angelina and Louis, just you 2 to go. Thank you. Louis, just you, if you're able to do it. Bottom of the bar, breakout rooms, join. And you should be joining ABC. Right, I'm going to close all the rooms now and they'll come back. Fine. So I think all but only a couple of you didn't do that, and that is it. That's all you have to do. So it's so for you guys, it's really easy. So when you first join the platform, you'll come into an area like this. The rooms, your hearing room will be open. It will be labelled your hearing room. So if, for example, it says New York versus Hong Kong, and you're from Zurich, then just sort of unmute yourself and sort of say, I shouldn't be going to this room. It's very unlikely that will happen, but obviously just if it is, so just make sure the room that you are joining is your hearing room. If you are sort of an observer, or if you haven't sort of put your team name, or for somehow you've got in and used a different email address, then if you just either use the chat function to tell my moderator that you wish to go to this hearing, or you can just unmute yourself if there's an opportune moment to do that as well. So, and the way that it will happen is that we're going to be hosting 4 hearings on one platform at a time. So there'll be 8 teams coming in and 12 arbitrators to this initial page. So what you need to do is you just go to the button at the bottom that says breakout rooms, and just join your room, and you just stay there. We will move the arbitrators around. So the arbitrators, when they arrive, they will go into their own little room. So that just the 3 of them, they will just obviously make discussions. We will then move them automatically into the hearing room, and where you will have the mute that will last for an hour or so. They will then be moved out of that into their small room again, and to deliberate, and then they will come back no longer than 10 minutes later to give you feedback, and then that will be the end of the round, and you can leave the meeting and go on to your next the next round. So as I said, for you guys, very easy. For us, what's important is the email that you log on with, because that's how Zoom recognizes you, and that's how we can assign you to where you need to go. That's it. So if anyone's got any questions, there's obviously a chat function, and you can just either unmute yourself, pop your hand up, or whatever. I've just got one question. So asking, should we all log into Zoom with the same email of our team? It depends on what you've given the Vis Moot team. If they, because it will recognize the email of what you set your account up. So for example, if you've got your own personal account, then probably give that email address into the Vis Moot team, or use your team email address to log on to the system. And whether you, I'm not sure if you can actually use the same email address. Multiple people can use the same email address. I haven't heard of that before. Yeah, so when you so the chat function, you'll need to use the chat function when you enter your hearing room, not this platform where we are, not the holding room where you are now. When you go into your into the hearing room, that is when you need to use the chat function to say that you are speaking. You know, my name's Zach from University of Zurich, and I'm for the claimant or something like that. So. So if 8 participants are registered on the account with their own respective emails, can we then each enter with our own email? You can, yeah. We've been given all the email addresses from the Vis Moot team. So the email addresses that you've given, that ideally, that's what you want to use your Zoom account. If you've already set up a Zoom account with a different email address, it's free to set up another one. So just the email address that you've given the Vis Moot team, use that email to set up a Zoom account if you haven't done it already. Couple more pointers is that whenever you move from room to room, you will automatically be muted. So this is probably going to affect the arbitrators more. So it's going to be interesting to see how many times we hear the saying "you're on mute." Yeah, we'll have a book running here at the IDRC, and we've got it in the thousands. The time that's going to be said. Another question through about using the chat function to communicate with your team members. Personally, I'd advise against it. I would suggest you set up your own WhatsApp or some other way of discussing. And the reason being is that we've actually had experience in live hearings where people have used the chat function thinking they're speaking to one of their team, and they've sent it to everybody. And we've seen chat things come up sort of saying that witness is lying through his back teeth, which obviously isn't great when you're when you're in a live hearing. But that's that. And then just another few things is obviously if you are a speaking participant, is what we're looking for is what I see now, sort of a head and shoulder shot of yourselves. Try not to have a bright window behind you, because you then become a silhouette, and don't do what some of the arbitrators we've seen, where they've actually had their partner brushing their hair before the hearing starts and not realizing that their camera's on. So these are ex law lords that are having their hair brushed by their partner before it starts. But there we go. That's the tales of virtual hearings. There is again, if you are a speaking participant, if you want to test your audio, then bottom left-hand corner where the mute button is, you will see a little pointing arrow upwards. If you click that, and then you go to audio settings, you will see there you can test speaker and test mic. So you can actually do that for yourself to make sure that you can hear and be heard. But obviously, if you can hear me, then it's fine. And there's another couple of options on that. So depending on where you are, there's a suppress background noise issue sort of section, and we've actually had it where we had a translator that was working on a case, and she was actually having grilling going on in the flat above, and she pressed the high suppressed back noise, and we couldn't hear the drilling at all. So it depends on your own situation where you are. Obviously, for your own concentration, you want it to be quiet and everything like that. But the last thing we want to hear on the Moot is other noise that isn't necessary. So you can use that option as well. On virtual backgrounds, if you want to use a virtual background, you are allowed. I would suggest I'd probably advise against it, because that also uses bandwidth as well. So you just want to have the best the best quality that you can get. And obviously advisable, don't come as a cat. That's been done, and it was funny when it happened. And although I'm certainly very tempted, especially training sessions like this, was which actually started like a cat, but I thought, well, I better not. And then the last thing is just enjoy yourself. Take the opportunity, enjoy the Vis Moot, and hopefully you'll all be back in Vienna next year, or hopefully you'll all be back in Vienna next year. So if anybody else has got any questions, please ask. Either unmute yourself, or again use the chat function. But you can see on the call this morning we've got just less than 50 people, of which has been probably about the average, and we've got about, I think, 4,000 of you to sort out. So it's we will start the hearings probably between 15 and half an hour before you're due to start. So that will give you time to log on and go into your room and things like that. So so if you're in the waiting room, we know you're waiting. We can send you messages and everything like that. So, and if there's any problems during the hearing, you can always just leave the session where you are. You can come back into this holding page. This will be made where my moderator will be with their videos on. So if there's any issues, you can just sort of come back in, ask a question, or you can use the chat function to speak to us as well. So before what I'll do before you go, I'll just reopen the rooms again. So if you just wanted to test going there again, and then to see any of the functions, the chat functions, all that, anything like that, you can do that, and then you can leave the call. What I'll do, I'll open the rooms, and this time you're allowed to press join rather than going to the breakout rooms. It's up to you. If anybody's got any more questions, then please ask. Just one question I've just had in. Can you kindly elaborate on the use of the share screen? No, because you're not going to use the share screen. So do not use the share screen. I hope that's said it plainly enough. I'm just going to open the rooms now. So if you want to join there and then leave the call, if anybody wanted to ask a question, more than welcome to.
Hi, Mr. Hickman.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes. I have one question. Is that currently we are a team from China, and we want to register an account for our Zoom meeting, but the area we are in now is not available for registration for the Zoom account. And I've already mentioned this problem with in the email, but I just want to get, because I noticed that there are some Chinese students as well in this meeting, so I want to ask them to see how they have settled out the problem.
So first of all, do you use a VPN? Because a VPN is generally the best way forward. We do lots of arbitrations with Chinese parties. And they use a VPN and have no issue in joining on the system.
Okay, so but I try to use my VPN to get an account, but it can't. So
okay,
the problem, yes.
So how did you join today?
I use my WeChat. You know, in Chinese version, the Zoom version, we can join this meeting by using our WeChat account, but I can't use the email when we first register for the Vis Moot.
Right. Okay. If you're able to join this meeting today using your WeChat, it's the same platform for the Vis Moot itself. So potentially, what that will mean is when you come on, is we will then just have to assign you manually to your room, which is obviously why it's important to have your team name. So if we can get the majority of people pre-assigned, it just makes our life a lot easier. But obviously, you know, we understand obviously the things with China, there could be some potential issues with the Zoom. We can just manually assign you. So the most important thing is you're actually being able to join today. Yeah.
Okay. So
what we need to know, obviously, as you've got, I can see University of Beijing. When you arrive, I will know that you're going to the University of Beijing, and I can assign you to the University of Beijing hearing room, and then that is where you will stay. You can then, you know, if you're a speaking participant, you will obviously just put your name in the chat. But
okay.
So is the name I'm seeing on the screen now? Is that your name?
Yes.
Fine. So that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
And are you one of the speaking participants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're currently using the same platform at the moment for the Vis East, and obviously they've got a lot of Chinese teams that are using that as well. So it's you know, we actually even have areas of so some universities are based where actually Zoom is not allowed at all. You know, so places like Iran, but they use a VPN, and they've all been able to manage to get on. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hickman.
So probably a good thing is just join a little bit beforehand, and then we can you know, for your rounds, and then we'll obviously be able to assign you to your hearing room. So.
Okay. Thanks.
Somebody just said about the chat function in the breakout rooms. So we will make sure, obviously the chat will be so you'll be able to chat to we'll do chat to everybody. So let me just fine. Okay. So if you go to the chat function now, you should be able to see that you can chat to everybody. Fine, jolly good. If there's anybody else got any other questions, please ask away. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to leave and get on with your day.